Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time coming by. Today we're going to be doing a recent deck roundup, and holy boy howdy, do I have a lot of decks to show you today, and a couple of things that aren't decks, but mostly decks, and there's a lot. I got sent a bunch of things for review, some expected, some not, so that's interesting. I have some things that I bought. I have, I think, a Kickstarter or two that came in, some impulse things. You know, it's going to be a roundup. It's going to be a haul. So if that's the kind of thing you enjoy, buckle up. We're going to be here for a minute. As always, before we get started, just a quick reminder that I am also a deck creator and an author. So I will throw up a infographic, an animated image, so you can see where you can get my work if you are so inclined. But let's just get into it without much order or preamble or anything, because like I said, there's a lot. So let's start off with something I purchased. I purchased the Lubanco Tarot. This is published by Llewellyn. Pretty exciting to see Llewellyn scoop up a previously published indie deck. That's not something I've seen Llewellyn do a lot of. We've seen some of that from Lo Scarabeo that Llewellyn does, I believe, distribute in North America. But this is Llewellyn right there on the box. So Llewellyn is starting to scoop up some previously published indie decks, which is great to see. This one I had talked myself out of, and I did talk about this a little bit in my monthly deck review because I did end up playing with this for playing a solo role-playing game called Anamnesis in November, which was a lot of fun, but I have not actually worked with this as like a proper tarot yet. But I have to say, I really like this book. The cardstock is that kind of like, I don't know what this new cardstock is that Llewellyn's using, but it does shuffle quite nicely. And mine's already shuffled. It's not in order. It's got a little bit of a flop to it, but how do I describe it? No, it's got a bend to it. It doesn't flop, but it feels like it should flop, if you know what I mean. It has like a papery feel where you think it's going to just like be kind of limp, and it's not. But I have seen some reviews and such on different retailers that seem to indicate that it chips pretty quickly or that it doesn't hold up. I don't know yet. I can't really speak to that. I would like to really use this maybe for a monthly member readings and see how it reads. I don't know why I keep missing my shuffle. It might be bending just a little more than I'm used to. Regardless, this deck has a very painterly quality. It's definitely outside of my usual aesthetic, but I really love the art in it. I think that the art is really evocative. I think it really has a lot going on that makes me want to know more about what's happening in the image. And art that does that to me often tends to be very effective for me as a tool when I'm reading, but I'm not going to know until I really put it through its paces in quick fire readings, like in a monthly member reading stream. So you may see this showing up in an upcoming member reading streams, possibly even in December. I may get a chance to try this. We will see. But I have to admit, there's some cards here that I'm like, interesting. But a lot of these, I really find them to be kind of a little bit primal, a little bit raw in a way that I kind of like. So we'll see. But I have to tell you, the guidebook is really written well. Even though these entries are not terribly long, some of them are. Like, some of them are longer than others. But there's something about the way it's written that I really like. I'm going to just read the Six of Cups as an example. So here you can see the artwork because it's nice and big on this side. And this is one of the more compact guidebooks rather than those big giant ones that Llewellyn normally does. So I kind of like that as well. But it says, visions flicker, stuttering as a figure lies on their side, their cheek pressed into the ground. So that's over here. You see this figure lying with their cheek pressed into the ground, staring forward at illusory shapes. They blink and watch the swirl of stories told and broken. And that, just that phrase, isn't that so evocative? Then it says, the Six of Cups in many traditional decks harkens back to childhood. Many Rider-Waite-Smith style decks have its meaning as the innocence of childhood, joy, past lives. I approach the Six of Cups somewhat differently in this deck, as a lens by which we view the past and how that affects how we interact with our present and view our future. In reality, for many of us, our past and childhoods do not mean an innocent life free of trouble. It is not often strife-free or full of flowers or happy children or any other sing-song narrative of childhood that's been fed to many of us. For many trauma survivors, there's a special pain to thinking about the before or the wish for an idyllic time before an experience or a knowledge or an alternate universe without the trauma. For some folks, there is no before, only a hazy feeling of what could be or could have been. And I was like, damn, truly, like, holy moly. And I was hit by entries like that, not like that specifically, but written that in that style throughout. And I have to say I was really impressed by the depth of this deck. I think this would be an incredible deck to really spend time bonding with and getting to know and really reading the guidebook entries. For me, I think that would be a worthwhile pursuit. And I was really grateful that I had picked this up. I think it's going to end up being a really powerful deck in my collection and one that I'm looking forward to using for myself, I think regardless of its outcome as a reader for others, but I am curious to see how it will read with others. So I will definitely keep you posted. And if I spend that much time on every single deck, we will literally be here for like 2.5 hours. So I'm going to try to pick up the pace, but we'll see how I do. Okay, let's talk about a deck that was sent to me for review. This is the Little Bird Tarot and Field Guide by our very own Shanna D. She has a YouTube channel. I will link the channel down below. And of course, I always link the decks I'm talking about down below to the best of my ability. Every once in a while, I make a mistake. Thank you to those of you who let me know if I accidentally post an incorrect link or you don't see a link. I'm happy to correct that when I get those comments. So do speak up if you see something missing or needing correction. But yeah, this is the newest edition of Shanna's deck. I love the way she did this field guide to literally look like it's like linen coated. I think that's such a great touch. And of course, you all know this is my favorite box style, the wraparound that lays completely flat. It doesn't feel clunky. I love it. It's great. This is a deck that, and she did the color-coded edges, but she did it so much more elegantly than I did it in my decks. Like, I love this like little watercolor swatch kind of look to mark the corners of the pages. That's so much nicer and more gentle, which suits, of course, the energy of this deck really perfectly. But again, this is the second edition. This is a deck based on Audubon, I believe it is, images of birds. And it looks like she has literally identified the bird and the plant. So like, for example, in the Seven of Wands, we have the Towhee ground finch and common blackberry. And we get some really substantial entries. It's funny because this is some really lovely cardstock. Hello. This is like black core linen. Pretty sure. Yeah, this has got to be black core linen. We have a nice little intro card, which I will slide under the ribbon as I usually do. This, I like what she did here. I can't remember the first edition. There's a change to the way she did the banners. I believe the first edition had a white banner. I really like how soft and subtle the new titles are. Like, you can really see that's a Page of Cups. In person, they're very, very easy to see and read. This has really got a soothing look to it. Our little fool, our magician with his berries, the high priestess. This is, again, one I think I'll enjoy pulling for myself. And I really want to pair this deck, like really, really, with the other Audubon bird. Let me just grab it. I said I was going to pick up the pace and I totally lied, so we'll just see where we end up. But anyway, this is the Almanac of Birds, Divinations for Uncertain Days by Maria Popova. This is whereas this is going to be such an easy deck for me to physically handle, this is exactly the opposite in every way. It's huge, like massive by comparison. So this is standard tarot size, like it's massive. And this is kind of like cardboardy and thick and impossible to shuffle. Like, I don't even know. But I think what I could do is let's just pull. Oh my God, it doesn't even fan well. I hate that. Okay, I'm just going to hand over hand vertically and just pick a single card because I feel like that's how I want to use this. And let's just pick a single one of these because this is how I kind of envisioned working with Shanna's deck. And then, so I'd pull one. Now this has got a poem on it, but the problem here I will point out is the poems in a lot of these cards, as you can see, are very, very small. And I get that because they don't want to obscure the bird, but it's a little test for my eyes. So this one says it is I can't read what type of bird this is. So, a whoopee? I have no idea what that says. Maybe I'll be able to see maybe I'll be able to see when I'm editing. I don't know. But here's what the poem says. It says, our range of being is only limited by the ending we expect of situations, for life is animated by the unexpected that chooses the extremities we have to live, rejecting which is rejecting life, and respecting which is respecting the unexpected strength in us. And I was picturing like this deck kind of flanked. I like Shanna's deck so much better. That's my problem. Okay, let's do this because I can't decide what to do about this because it's so physically difficult to work with these cards that I don't know what to do. I really don't. And this was so much better in theory than in practice for me because I find it so difficult to read these. I can't really read Like this one, I can see it's some kind of woodpecker. But I feel like it would have benefited by kind of what Shanna did here, where she took and actually, well, she tells us in the guidebook, I should say, what's on the card. But oh my God, the difference in cardstock is just, it's jarring. It's so different. But anyway, so I like this in theory, but it feels so unwieldy and unusable. I can't get my hands around it. And I have very big hands or stretchy hands or whatever you say. Like, usually I don't have a problem with big decks. It's massive. So I don't know how to use this one, and I kind of don't want to with this because it's so unwieldy comparatively. But here's what I'd like to do. Let's just cut this deck in a random place. Nine of Swords. I really want to get into her guidebook and just see, because Shanna has, if you've watched Shanna's channel, we have the Nine of Swords here. If you've watched Shanna's channel, then you know that she has this very gentle, like, welcoming energy that's very warm, and I kind of want to feel that in here. It just seems like it would I want to see her writing. So it says, the vivid scarlet red plumage of the male scarlet tanager serves as a striking mark of mental anguish and unease. So this is the tanager with, oh, I don't think we know what plant this one is. It just says keyword is unease. Let's see, mirroring the visual impact of inner turmoil, while the subdued olive yellow color of females complements this symbolism. Oh, I see. So we have a female and a male here? Yes. So it says, in parallel, the Nine of Swords warns of overwhelming thoughts dominating your mind, urging prompt attention to potential harm from prolonged worry. Drawing inspiration from the tanager's vibrant colors, seek support in constructive ways to alleviate your mental burdens, paving the way towards clarity and peace of mind. This symbolic connection aligns with the tanager's spiritual representation, full of passion, intensity, and the awakening of your inner self. The striking red color is associated with strong emotions, courage, and the life force, offering insights into addressing your emotional distress with urgency and finding renewal after overcoming challenges. So it says, when midnight worries swarm, I'm having a hard time with this font, hold on. When midnight worries swarm, envision the scarlet tanager's transformation. I think it says from shadow to flame. Write three fears on birch bark strips or natural intention paper. By candlelight, examine what's real versus magnified by darkness. Tie with red thread, whispering what haunts by night cannot withstand dawn. After 3 nights beneath your pillow, burn at sunrise, watching your anguish become smoke. Oh, that's really beautiful. I wish it was in a different font, to be honest. I wish it was in the same font, because it was hard for me to read that. And I know I'm not wearing my glasses, so this is not, it's a reasonable font size and everything. I think it's kind of a scripty font. And it's, unfortunately, one thing I learned when I was making my own decks is that serif, if you're gonna do a font in a small print size, I've noticed that serif fonts are just naturally easier to read. And when it moves away from serif, it can get kind of challenging, especially a scripty font. It needs to be bigger to be as readable as the serif. You can kind of see it there. You can see here's the regular font, and then here's the scripty font. But it's amazing that there's these little practices on here, and it looks like you get a little practice or journal prompt for every card, which I think is really beautiful. And it's a way to sort of bring in the intention of that card. Ooh, interesting. And like the King of Cups has a field note. Do all the courts have field notes or just the King of Cups? Oh, all the kings have like a field note. That's so fun. And it definitely makes this feel more like a field guide to have these like sort of switching fonts, these little field notes or exercises. That's really kind of fun. So it's not consistent across. Like some of them have a little journal prompt, some have a little practice, or some have a field note. That's really fun. I mean, it's clear that Shanna put a ton of thought into this little guidebook. I love that. But anyway, back to the cards. Sorry, I got focused on the guidebook. For me, this kind of thing is going to be really great for reflective energy. This feels very calming to look at. I don't know a lot about birds, but I love the idea that I can learn about birds through this deck. It kind of scratches the same sort of itch as the Midnight Magic Mushroom Tarot. Like you can learn about mushrooms as you're working with the tarot. And I like that. I think that's really fun. So, oh, and there's like another little card in here. Within these cards lie hidden truths. Each feather tells of deepest roots. Let intuition be your guide as wisdom flows from deep inside. Trust their whispers, heed their call, for in their silence lies it all. Oh, that's so lovely, Shanna. Put that under there too. So yeah, this is really, really beautiful. I think she did a marvelous job. It's on gorgeous cardstock, so it's going to be really nice and easy to shuffle. And I know I said I needed to speed up, and I'm not speeding up. I'm sorry. This is just how we're going to roll. And I guess if we're here a long time, I can keep that out of there. And then we're just going to be here a long time. That's just how it's going to be. Okay. Oh goodness, I've got things for review. I've got a whole little mini haul from US Games. What do I show next? Okay, let's talk about the Runic Odyssey. This isn't new. I've had this for ages. I've talked about it a lot. This is my favorite rune deck. This is my very well-loved dark copy, which is on this beautiful blue background with gold. And it's really great as a rune deck. It's a good all-arounder. You got this beautiful artwork. You've got keywords. You've got the name of the rune. It's really, really easy. Plus, you have moon phases. I mean, it's great. It's been my go-to rune deck for a long time. But then it was actually Chantel in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group who was looking for a rune deck, and I recommended this. And then she went and got a copy of this, but she got the light edition. And then she said that it was going to be going out of print. And I was like, well, dang it. The light edition is really beautiful. So then I went on Eva's website where you can get Runic Odyssey. I'll have it linked down below. I'm assuming there's still some copies left. And I was trying to decide between the full size and the pocket. And my logic went like this. I already have the full size in the dark edition. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get the pocket in the light edition. And I'm really glad that I did. Let me show you. There's more to the story, obviously. It comes in a little tuck box. This is such a great size. So like, whereas in the standard edition, you can see it's standard tarot size. This is like a little bridge size. You can see the difference there. This feels great for a rune deck, to be completely honest. And now it doesn't have the big chunky book, but I already had that with the standard dark edition. But what I loved is I love this colorway. So it flips it so that the background is light now and the foreground artwork is darker. And then we still have the golden rune symbol. I will say the keywords don't pop as well until you get them into the light a little bit. But I like that because it brings my eye first to the art and then to the rune. And then when I need to, I can look into keywords and the title of the rune. Like I know that is Fehu. I know that's Fehu, but if I'm having a moment where I don't remember, it's like, okay, we have Fehu, and then we have wealth and abundance down here. Here we have Uruz, and I know that's Uruz, but then I can look up here and I can see, okay, Uruz, if I stumbled or I forget, strength and determination. I would say of the two, this one feels like it will match more of my decks if I just want to pull a rune to go along with my readings. And it's on the same cardstock. It's got that soft finish with this gorgeous gold backing, and it's got a nice brown toned edging. And it just feels like a really nice little portable size that I can just maybe put in my bag and carry around with me. So I'm really, really glad that I got the pocket size. But when I opened my box from Eva, she had, of her own volition, also thrown in the standard size for me, which was very, very sweet. She sent a really lovely little note, and I appreciated it so much. Thank you so much, Eva. That was really thoughtful. And I kind of had this whole squeal because I was like, oh my gosh, because I couldn't decide initially between the full size and the pocket, and I decided on the pocket, and so then I got the full size, and I'm like, well, dang it. And again, I feel like this just is such a different mood than the original blue one. But the thing too is that, again, I feel like I can put this next to so many different decks, particularly when I want something that kind of goes with anything that has a little bit more of an aged feel. I think these like earthy tones are going to work really well. I just really need to shuffle this and kind of break it in a little. So now I'm like, well, shoot. I'm going to have to decide. I think I want to keep them all, and I don't know what that says about me, but here we are. So this one will probably go in my little pocket, my little minis basket, and or in my bag, literally. Actually, I might put this by the bed for bedtime pulls. Or maybe I'll put this full size. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll put this one by the bed for bedtime pulls since it's more broken in. And then I'll keep this one where I don't know. I'm still trying to decide, but regardless, what I love about doing a rune card pull, and the reason it kind of became a part of my practice, is because I love how rune energy looks at like big picture stuff. It's like big themes, like soul themes. So here we have Nalthes, which is need, right? Need. We've got the hands, the cupped hands out. You can see that just the eyes go right to these cupped hands. And I find that it's really good to work in single card pulls for runes. I really think that works well. I'm tempted now. I'm just curious. I haven't really read a guidebook entry in a minute for these. Now these. So it says, the runic form says need is a constraint on the breast, although it often comes in the sun, to the sons of man, a help and a healing of every one if they hearken in to his demand before. So this is the rune of necessity, but also a symbol of determination that invites you to pay attention to your real needs and necessities. Tells you you have the inner strength to overcome unpleasant situations or obstacles you feel you cannot control, as long as you know how to accept them and make the necessary sacrifices to progress on the path of life. If you did not have these obstacles to change, you would be stagnating in a situation that would not serve you. Nauthiz invites you to release frustration and patience and let the energy flow freely around you. Do not lose sight of what is important. Maybe this will be my bedtime. This will be, what's going to read better in low light? Let me just think. What's going to be easier to see in low light? Probably this one, because it's got the darker background, the whiter art. Yeah, okay. So I think this one's going to go by the bed and be my bedtime rune deck. And then I can read the guidebook entries if I want to. Oh, this is a bilingual, by the way. I don't know if I told you this, but if you flip it over, you've got it in French, which is just great. So English one side, French the other side. I think this one's going to go by the bed. This one's going to go on my shelf. This one's going to go on my mini basket. That's how we're going to roll. Let's look at some things that were sent to me that I was not expecting. And these are just going to be a quick little show and tell. This is by Baroque Tarot. So they sent me a few things, actually. The first thing they sent me is their Lady Pirates Tarot. I didn't know this existed. That was like a whole thing. But it's called Lady Pirates. And we've got a guidebook. We have this black and gold on the back. And it's literally Lady Pirates. Now, I am sure I'm going to have a solo role-playing game to play around with this with. But it's literally like, it's Lady Pirates. And if I remember correctly, I took a quick little glance. And it feels like it's very like portraiture. Like it's RWS, basically. But it's Lady Pirates version. So we have our Fool, Magician, High Priestess, but they've got a lot of framing around them. Like you can tell they're like on some ship, obviously pirate ships, fighting like a sea beast. It's a whole mood. It's very much like it's Lady Pirates. Like it's pretty great. Here's the Three of Wands. I don't know. This had totally slipped my radar. I don't remember seeing anything about this. Like look at this too. Look at how sassy she is. She's like, I got this. I feel like if you're just craving like Lady Pirate theme, like a Lady Pirate themed RWS, legitimately, I feel like this needs to be a solo role-playing game. And I don't know which one, but I think there is a piratey version of like expansion pack for, hold on. This one, Ironsworn Starforge. This is actually so sci-fi settings, but I believe this solo game system, which is a lot, by the way. This is a very comprehensive. It's a little intimidating. It's got bookmarks, but I believe this has a pirate themed like expansion you can get for it, or like skin for it. So you're playing like a pirate themed one. And part of me just thinks that would be really fun to have a pirate themed solo game and play it with this deck. That's the first thing I thought is like, how fun. What a fun theme. But it very much is a Rider-Waite-Smith style. There's a couple of bonus cards here. We have the Pact, the Windfall. I think, is that it? King of Cups. Like it's all women because it's the Lady Pirate deck. So they're all Lady Pirates. I don't know. I just feel like this would be so fun for like a themed game of some kind. I don't know what it would be yet. So, but like the backs are great. It's so fun. But yeah, Lady Pirates Tarot. Had no idea. It also has like a cloth and a bag that it like came with. So I don't know what I will do with that yet, but yeah, it might have to be for like a solo role-playing game of some sort. They also sent me their most recent deck that funded on Kickstarter, so I'm pretty sure this is going out to backers now. So that's probably how it ended up with me, is they sent out maybe to YouTubers or whatever around the same time. This is the Everyday Hero Tarot deck. I was hyped about this when I saw this on Kickstarter. I have to admit, this is going to sound so petty, but the first thing I noticed about this was that all the purple. Because I remembered on the Kickstarter seeing how this deck is like all like this earth toned color. but the titles are in this like purple holographic. It's got like a purpley pink edging and like purple backs. And listen, I love purple. I am a fan of purple. I'm a big fan of, I have purple nail. Do I have purple nails? No, my nails are like, they have a purple shift. Anyway, but it doesn't, I don't know why. It just doesn't seem to fit the vibe, like with all these like earthy tones and olive greens and browns of this deck and the mundanity of it in a way that we're looking at like nurses and like pharmacists and taxi cab drivers and like this kind of thing. And then you pair that with this like pinky purple color, which a color I love, don't get me wrong. It just threw me a little. This cardstock on this deck feels really nice too. I feel like it was meant to be more like brown. But man, this really gives the vibe of like hardworking people. Like first paycheck in the Ace of Coins is perfect. This feels very salt of the earth. Very grounded. Oh, we've got some QR codes that are not necessarily mine to share, so I don't want to share those. But yeah, this is like a whole vibe. It's like a whole vibe. It's very grounded, just like I remember thinking when I saw the Kickstarter, was like, this just feels very like rooted in everyday life. Like the Queen of Wands is the Queen of Wands. She's holding a styling wand, like it's a curling iron. It's great. It's great. I feel like I keep showing the same cards, but that is the Everyday Hero Tarot. I know a lot of you are really excited for this one to come out or to be on the shelf from the Kickstarter. So hopefully backers are receiving their decks pretty quickly. I think it shipped direct from the printer. I could be wrong though. But yeah, it was just the purple. It was the purple that threw me. I got to admit, it was the purple. But guidebook wise, I have not given it a ton of attention yet. I don't know, but this feels like the kind of deck that'll just read really well, like right out of the box. So I don't know that you need the guidebook much. In fact, why don't I'll put those QR code cards on the bottom and then the book and then the cards. But yeah, the pinky purple stuff it just kind of caught me off guard. I was not expecting that, but very cool. It's neat of them to have created a modern deck, but one that kind of brings in, like I said, slice of life stuff. And yeah, this one also has its own like little matching cloth and bag. So that was fun. This next deck that they sent me, I don't think I can show you because YouTube will get real mad at me. But I will briefly see if I can show you anything from it. But they sent me this set from their, see? YouTube will get mad. But they sent me the Naked Truth Tarot with this giant companion book. Listen, I love a Lux book, and it's great to see artwork nice and big. And there is a lot of information. I'm just seeing if there's an entry here I can show you. But there's also like a lot of like blank space. Like this is a very big book. It's very, very tall. And I just feel like this could have been done in a thicker but smaller book. I'm just looking if there's some fairly safe pages I can show. I'm trying to find. I mean, it is called The Naked Truth. There's a lot of nakedness in this one. But like, here's kind of an example. So you have like an introduction to the Suit of Cups, which is just a couple sentences. And then you have sort of your artwork. You do get information about like what is the art that's featured in the card, what are its themes. We've got upright and reverse meanings, interpretations. We got general, working, career, love and relationship, health, personal spirituality. For me, this big of a book, while it's beautiful to look at, and again, it's impressive to have something like this, I feel like it's impractical because I can't really haul this around with me while I'm working with the deck necessarily. So there's that. Also, this is such a fancy box. I don't know what the story is here, but it like makes me feel so fancy to have this like all locked up like this. And the fact that the deck, oh, there was also like a coin, but the deck fits in there. Let's see if I can keep it covered up in its box, which is really nice. So you can have this kind of on a shelf or something. I'm just going to see if there's any cards I can kind of show. I don't know that there's going to be much, but here's what the backings look like. And then it is gold edged. Cardstock feels good. I really like the black and gold kind of like titling on the card. I think it looks really luxurious. It feels luxurious to hold too. The cardstock, like I said, feels really good. I'm just looking for some images that I could show. It's a beautiful lover's card. It's a curated art deck, so you're going to have a lot of, if you have other decks that kind of do this sort of thing, you're going to be familiar with what kind of thing it's doing. Here's our Tower card. But yes, lots of nudity, fine art nudity, of course. This is all like museum quality stuff. It's nothing that like, in theory, YouTube should not get mad about it, but I know that they can get mad about even fine art sometimes, so I try to be mindful. But I feel like There's definitely a darker tone to this. And it's fairly balanced. I see a lot of both male and female bodies represented in this deck. And because it's fine art, it doesn't feel like, I don't know what the word is, like gratuitous at all. It feels elegant and mature. But yeah, I could totally see it being a thing that is not necessarily for everybody, but it seems to be very well curated and well done. So that's cool. I don't know if it's ultimately something that is like for me, but it's cool that they sent it my way so that I could kind of give you guys the idea of what it sort of looks like. I will have all this stuff linked down below, of course. Okay. All right. Something else I bought. And listen, I will do my best to explain myself. This might be a regret, but listen, this was on like some sort of mega discount. I think I got it for like $10. It was really cheap. I've had this deck like 3 times in the past. I had no business getting this deck, except that I'm about 99.99% sure that I'm going to be hosting a deck study of this deck at some point. It came up when I showed my mini copy of this deck. And should that have been good enough for the study? Yes, because I have the little tin version, and this would have been fine for the deck study. It would have been fine. But I went ahead and picked up a full size because it'll be easier to show on camera or to work with when I'm working with my members. But I have to say, the cardstock has definitely changed because I had one of the earlier mass market, probably one of the first printings of this deck when it first was released, and the cardstock was lovely. It was like kind of luxurious. It had a nice matte lamination on it. Now it feels kind of chintzy. It's still box in a box packaging though. Again, this is like my 3rd copy of this deck. But I got it because I figured if I have an inexpensive full size, I can also make a bunch of notes on the guidebook, which I may do if we do a deck study. And again, it's going to come up on a future deck study poll, but I feel like this is a deck that everybody wants to really figure out how to get to know. And so I bought a copy. But yeah, the cardstock is feels much less nice than it used to. I'm sure it's perfectly fine. It'll be easy enough to shuffle. It's not very thick, so that's fine. It's got a good I shouldn't have shuffled it because I'll try to put it back in order later, but it's got like more of a semi-gloss finish instead of a perfectly matte finish. But again, I can have a copy now that I don't have to be precious about if I decide to write on it or something. But I have spent a lot of time with this deck. I can read with this deck really well. Part of me wondered if doing a deck study was going to make me miss it. So when I saw it for like super cheap I think it was like on Amazon, like I said, for like $10, I was like, you know what, let me just grab a physical copy of the full size yet again to have for an inevitable deck study. And I do think it'll be a fun one for us to do as a member study. So I wanted to have it on hand for when that happens because I just have a feeling. I just have a feeling based on the response I got when I mentioned that it would be cool to do a Wild Unknown study at some point. Based on the response I got from members, I'm pretty sure that is going to be a thing that will be happening. I think I've got it on the poll for our next study poll, which is going to be for our March-April study. So I suspect this is going to be coming up. So I wanted a copy on hand for that, but beyond that, I have no idea because it's one of those decks that while I've learned how to read with it and I have bonded with it, I found myself not reaching for it, but then I sometimes miss. It's like one of those decks I just can't, I have a hard time getting out of my head. It's one of those things. So I should have kept my first copy, but I didn't, and here we are. Okay, so another deck. Okay, actually, let's talk about the US Games decks because like they sent me a whole like swag bag of like a few new things. So I'm going to talk about these and then I'm going to show a few more things because that's how we're rolling today. Okay. The swag bag was really fun. It's like a really nice, generous, it's going to go into my grocery bag rotation for sure. And they sent me bags, which I have plans for. This one is like such a funky shape. It's like narrow at the top. It feels like it'd be perfect for like charms or runes or something. So I am considering putting my charms in here. And then we have a pile of decks. So actually, and this one, I think, okay, hold on. I have my one singular classic Rider-Waite-Smith. Man, this is a big bag though. Like, look at that. So this is probably too big for that. That is way too big for that. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with this bag. It's a lined bag though. And y'all know I'm a bag snob because I have a bag maker in the house, but like, see, I like bags that fit like a little bit more like that. So I got to think about like what I can put in this giant Rider-Waite-Smith bag because I don't really have a lot of like Rider-Waite-Smith things. But this, I feel like if I just get out all of my charmy things, see, I have special charm sets too, like individual ones. And I just wonder if I should mix them or not. Am I side questing? Yes, yes I am. Are we judging me? No. No, let's not. Okay, let's just see. Okay, so I have some charms that are in tins. Okay, so I have some individual sets. So this is a tarot set. This is an Astarian set that my bestie made me. So that's got to stay by itself, I feel like. It's a more curated set. And then what else do I have in here? Oh, I also have another tarot set. Yep, that's another tarot themed set of charms. Oh goodness, what am I going to do with myself here? Okay, so I have this. This is sort of my like catch-all set. So maybe, because this has got like a mix of all kinds of things, maybe I should just get that out of a tin. Maybe I would use it more. Yeah, I feel like this is such a great charm bag. I like that. And part of me wonders, this one is, again, like another tarot set. So I've got 2 different tarot sets. And then I've got my Astarian set. And part of me wants to just put it all together so that if I get one of these, like, I feel like I should. Like these little drops of blood. I feel, you know what? I'm going to put them in there. I can always separate them back out if I want to. There's like a black rose. There's like a dagger. There's a bite. I love that. Okay, that's going into my massive set. That's what I'm going to do. And then the tarot sets. I've got 2 different ones. Okay. Yes, I'm side questing again. This is just how it is. Okay, so I have this tarot set. Okay. And then I have this tarot set. And I feel like my thing is that if I'm going to use tarot, I'm just going to use tarot. I think I'm literally just gonna, I can always pull things back out and make individual sets later. I think I'm just gonna put them into one massive collection. And it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. Look, I got another dagger. And I don't care if there's repeats. I really don't. Okay. I could even potentially, this is my like old set of witches runes. I could potentially even put my little witches runes in here. I'm gonna do it. Screw it. Because I don't use any of these things individually ever. Like, I feel like. But if I had like one, like, sort of get, this is the ring box. I am such a squirrel, y'all. This is the ring box from when Peggy and I got married. So we had a dark one and a light one, and our rings were in here. Got these little boxes. Oh, and then I also have these astrological dice. I'm gonna also chuck those in there. Okay. We're just gonna streamline. We're streamlining my charm things. That's what we're doing. Yes, that is what we're doing. And that's how it's going to be. Okay, so this was supposed to be the US Games haul, but look at, now I have this giant charm bag. So now, and it's kind of a blind bag because it's got this like smaller. So now I can literally like reach in here and just pull and get a handful of things. I'm going to have to mix it up better because yes, I got some Astarian stuff in here and some tarot stuff in here and like an astrological dice. Cool. Okay, so that makes me kind of happy, actually. That's way more functional as a charm set than what I was doing before. We just got to mix it up. Y'all, it's late and I'm punchy and I can't focus. Okay, we're going to do our best. Okay, so let's just pull out some goodies from US Games. See what we got in here. I mean, I know what we have, but you don't know what I have. Okay, first off, they sent me the Tarot of Tides, The Adventures of a Duck Named Bob. Now, this is by Stephen Hutton. I had one of his Oracle decks before and I read some books by him. Does it say what the names of his books were? I don't think it says right there. This is literally a deck that tells the journey of a rubber ducky. And I find that so out of the box. And also huge props to US Games. They seem to have changed their card stock. So for a while they were putting out decks that were thicker and a little bit, and well, a lot stiffer actually. And just let me show you that. Did you catch that? There is flex and bend to these US Games decks, and they all feel like they're on the same sort of more flexy cardstock. It's like, it almost has that feel of like, it almost feels plastic. It's not plastic, but it almost feels plastic. Like it's definitely got what feels like a good snap to it, a good bend to it. It doesn't feel cardboardy, and it's thin enough that you're going to be able to shuffle it, which is amazing. So anyways, I just really wanted to highlight that because I know that for a bit there, a lot of their decks were coming out with this stiffer cardstock, and it was really a challenge for some people to shuffle. And it wasn't even as thick as some, but it was thicker. So anyways, so we have this little rubber duck named Bob, and Bob goes on these adventures through, I believe it's the 7 seas, and encounters all these like crazy things. Like this looks like a hint of Atlantis and the Emperor. Let's just check the guidebook. So let's see, four of, it's the Emperor, Lisa. It's the four of the major arcana. Tangled in drifts of torn net, Bob hitches a whale's dive, passing the ruins of mighty Atlantis, yes, as he goes along with a colossal statue of its great emperor. Here all seems turquoise as blue and yellow perfectly blend the colors of stability and optimism, for the emperor desires the best for his subjects. So you get a little blurb that tells you what's happening with Bob. And then you get a whole write-up. The emperor is undoubtedly a masculine force, as seen by his ram's head crown, flowing beard, and upright trident. It goes on from there. And it gives you kind of an interpretation, right? You'll need a clear strategy and great self-discipline, or the ability to inspire it in those around you if this is a team effort. So let's go a little further into the deck and take a look at some of the minor arcana cards. We have a giant crab in the moon. Holy. There's a very fantastical vibe. So here's the 2 of Wands. Where's Bob? Did we lose Bob in the Wands? Now I need to know what happened to Bob. Here's the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands. Are we not supposed to be able to see? Okay, so here's the world. Look at Bob with all the other duckies. Okay, so now we have the courts. I could just be missing it, but I don't see Bob. I don't see Bob in the court cards. Okay. And I don't see Bob in the Ace 2, 3. Okay, I see him in the 6. Okay, I need to know. I need to know what's happening. Why don't we see Bob in the Ace of Wands? This lone wand has achieved... Okay, does it say anything about the wands? Hold on. Let's see. Is there an intro to the wands? The Suit of Wands. Okay, it says, the rugged island of Wandland sits upon the 70th parallel, treeless, barren, and dominated by an extensive ice cap concealing a brooding volcano. It says it was here in Wandland that Bob spent a whole spring, summer, and autumn. During his visit, the inhabitants, charmed by his innocence, deemed not only to show themselves, but make him a guest of their mysterious island, overseen by its great king. Welcome then to the Suit of Wands. So we don't necessarily see Bob in every card, which is funny to me, because if we're following Bob's journey, I want to see Bob in all the cards, right? Don't we want to see Bob in all the... Like, there's Bob, and then we don't see him again. We see, I guess, some of these characters he's meeting. Now we're in the cups. So I'm a little confused where Bob goes. Where did Bob go? See, there's Bob there. I want to be able to find Bob in all the cards. There's Bob up there in the bubbles. There's Bob. So maybe I just wasn't seeing Bob. I don't know. I feel like he's in a lot of them. It feels a little bit like Where's Waldo? Like I'm just like legit looking for Bob. There's Bob in the 10 of Cups, though. This is a really different deck. I will say I had an Oracle deck by Steve Hutton, but I found it hard to follow the storyline of the cards in that particular deck. This is the cutest dang little hedgehog ever in the 4 of Pentacles. Holy moly. But again, no Bob. Apples, bees, a little mouse, hedgehog, no Bob. But then here's Bob in the 6 of Pentacles. So he's not always visible in the card. Look at the badger and the 9. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's a very different deck, Tarot of Tides. That'll be really, really interesting. I feel like it's one where I would be more reliant on the guidebook, so it might be one I need to use for myself for a bit. Might be fun, again, to partner with like a bit of a solo role-playing game and see, but I'm really impressed by the cardstock. I think that's the thing that really stood out to me about this deck is like, oh my gosh, they've changed their cardstock. So that was the tarot. Oh, there is another tarot in this goodie bag. Hold on, let me just pull out my little stack of things here. Okay, so there is a little tarot, and it is the Tarot of Mystical Moments, but the mini. Now, this is really cute because I have the full-size Tarot of Mystical Moments, and I love it. And one thing I was super curious to see with this little tiny mini is, would it have all the alternate cards? And I think it does. Like, we have our 2 different options for Emperor. And then let's look at the Kings, because I'm pretty sure that all of our extra cards are in here. Yep, we got 2 different options for our Kings. This is such a great deck. And again, this one actually feels like it's on that older, more stiff cardstock, or it could just be because these are smaller cards. Smaller cards always feel more stiff. Here's our 2 Kings. So that's fun. I may end up passing this one on. If Peggy is interested in adding to her little mini collection, I might give her this one, but we'll see. I think she's at a place in her personal tarot journey where she's not really collecting new things because she just likes them to have them. But man, I love this deck so much. I don't think I personally need a mini, but oh my gosh, this is such a great deck to have available in a portable size. It's such a good reader. The Tarot of Mystical Moments is probably one of my top 10 or 15 decks of all time. It's really intuitive. If you like a deck that's going to just speak to you, give you a lot in the imagery to work with and play with. Oh, I wanted to see what the guidebook was like. I don't use the guidebook much when I read with this deck, but I am curious. This little one. Oh, there's a good little description. So it gives you a description of what's happening in the card, and then an upright and reverse meaning and keywords. That's pretty substantial for such a little mini deck. Well done, US Games. This is a good one. This is a good one. And I feel like if you have a deck like this that you love so much, having a pocket version you can chuck in your bag. Like I always have my mini Unicorn's Journey Tarot deck with me, and I love having a mini on me because if you just want to like whip out some cards and do a quick little reading, having a mini is just chef's kiss. It's the way to go. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's 2 Oracle decks and a Lenormand. The Lenormand, y'all, this is a breathtaking deck from a production value standpoint and just from being freaking beautiful. This is the Folk Art Lenormand by Rowan Ortons. Now, I believe Rowan had a Folk Art Tarot, and I think I was having some sort of an issue with maybe with the astrological associations or something, but oh my God, the production value of that deck was also really beautiful. This is a Lenormand deck, and it is so striking and gorgeous. I don't even know if I can do it justice on camera. It is a black matte, like cardstock. Hopefully you can see if I get it in the light just right. The black is matte, but there is all of this UV gloss highlighting, these spot gloss highlights. So all of this color is all raised. It's all gloss, and it is gorgeous to look at. So there's a 0 card for Querent. And then we have, I mean, like, this is so beautiful. And this laid out on a table, look at the backs. This laid out on a table would be so easy to see what you're looking at. It's a really nice, like, little poker size. It feels super shuffleable. We'll shuffle it at the end here. But, so anyways, you have Rider, and it's really easy to see what the symbols are. Rider, Clover, Ship. House, Tree, Clouds, Snake, Coffin, Bouquet. It feels almost like plastic. It's got this like snap. It's nice. Scythe, Whip, Birds, Child, Fox, Bear, Star, Stork, Dog, Tower, Garden, Mountain, Crossroads. Sorry, my thumb's getting in the way. Mice, Heart, Ring, Book, Letter. You have 2 different men facing 2 different ways, which is great. 2 different women facing 2 different ways, which is great. I'm going to set those here so that I can pick mine. And then we have Lily, Sun, Moon, Key, Fish, Anchor, and Cross. And I love that it's an equal armed cross here. I think that's going to be easier for some people to look at. So for me, I usually like picking a man and a woman because I like the vibe, but I don't want a beard. So I'm going to go with, I kind of like this. Well, dang it. I want the man that faces this way, but I don't want a beard. And yes, I know I'm being picky, but I guess I'll take the beard. The reason I do man and woman is because when I'm doing readings for myself, I typically see Peggy as the like masculine energy in the reading, and I like that. That works for me. It works better for me than doing 2 women cards. It just does. But anyway, let me shuffle these in and show you how it shuffles. It's also got some really nice black edging. I mean, like the production value, like I said, they just did a beautiful job with making this really beautiful. And if you've been looking for like a good like black backgrounded Lenormand to work with, oh my gosh, this one is so pretty. And it's so clear what you're looking at. I love that. And it doesn't feel precious. I don't know how to describe it. It's mass market. It feels like the shuffle is fabulous. It feels like a really nice plain cardstock. But it looks really pretty. And in like real normal lighting, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just like lay out a little grid so you can see. So we have stars, house, and whip up at the top. And hopefully you can even see from a distance, there's almost like a charms-like quality. It draws your eye into the center of the card where the illustration is. So you can immediately see what it is that you're looking at. And you don't have to like try that hard. I love this. We've got mountain, heart, and snake. Look at that. Like, see how easy it is to see what you're looking at? Like, I feel like this is the kind of Lenormand that's just very practical. It's very practical. It's really beautiful. And even though it's black, the colors and the spot gloss help it pop on the table so you can kind of totally see. And then as far as a guidebook, because I don't often spend a lot of time evaluating Lenormand guidebooks, Youth, Innocence, Beginnings for the Child, the symbol of youth and innocence. Children see the world with fresh eyes and can bring a new perspective, endlessly curious, love to learn new things. This card represents a fresh start, like a new job, new relationship, or new stage in your life, something new on the horizon. And the playing card association is Jack of Spades. So they give you that on here because I don't think they're on the... Oh, they are on the card because you have it up in the corner. You have your playing card association. So like here's the Rider and you have the 9 of Hearts on there. Represents a gift or positive social interaction. So you've got enough in the guidebook to understand how to read the system, which is great. Oh, that's right. I forgot there was a querent card. So I could actually choose the querent card and then choose... I forgot about that. So you've got a non-gendered querent card, which is great. I forgot about that. Let me find that. Because then, so there's the woman and the man. And there's the querent. Okay, I love that. So we have like a non-gendered just querent card, which is perfect. So actually, with that in mind, I'm probably going to choose that man and that querent. That's what I'm going to do. I like that. I like that. Cool. So I like that there's a non-gendered option. That's awesome. Okay, so anyways, that's probably how I'm going to do it. Regardless, this is really fun. I will definitely be using this. I think this is a really, really practical little Lenormand, and it's nice to have one with such beautiful production value. So this is awesome. Okay, then we have 2 Oracle decks. The first of these is the Enchanted Wheel Oracle. Could this literally be the thing that unseats all of my Seasons of the Witch decks? I mean, maybe. It's possible. Stranger things have happened. So this is an Oracle deck based on the Wheel of the Year, which is amazing. So we, of course, have a guidebook that gets into every card. These are round cards, but they are a nice size. They fit comfortably in one hand. There's no unwieldy thickness or whatever, and it's on this same, like, bendy, flexy cardstock. It's not that thick cardboardy stuff. So there is every card. So just so we have some anatomy. I'm going to zoom this in, actually, because this is a little bit smaller. Okay. So every card has a title and 3 keywords. Again, y'all know that is my jam for a really usable deck without having to rely on the guidebook. So we have Wheel of the Year, beginnings, endings, completion. And then we have a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards for each of 8 Sabbats. So does it say how many? Because I can't math. 8 times 6, 40? 45. Right, 8 times 5 is 40. 45 is, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so we have winter solstice cards. So we have a direction, north for winter. And then inner space, reflection and darkness. We have air element. We have the Caliac, the mighty owl, a feather smudge fan, and rosemary. So what's interesting about this, so we have a direction. Let's see, does it actually... So it has Yule in the north, which makes sense. The winter solstice in the north. So we have a direction, an element. We have a deity. We have an animal. We have a tool. And we have a plant, which is a really cohesive system. Let's see if it sticks with it. So here we are in Imbolc, excuse me. And we're in northeast. And so we have the Sabbat, an animal. Oh, another animal. Hold on. A tree. Well, willow woman, that could be... Wait a minute. Now there's only... Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. This is a cross quarter. So for the winter solstice, we had 6 cards. But for the cross quarter, right, which is the lesser Sabbat, I guess you could say, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. So we have the Sabbat card. We have White Swan, Unicorn, and Willow Woman. So we have that for the cross quarter. Then we have the summer, so we should have 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I love systems, so I kind of geek out on systems. So we have the Sabbat card with East, Spring Equinox. We have the element, so we're in fire now. We have an animal, a mythical animal, a tool, and a plant. So here we have Hazel Woman. So we had, I'll make sure I understood this here. So we had, what was our plant? Rosemary. Caliac, so maybe something mythological. Maybe it's not necessarily a deity, but maybe it's like something mythological. Because here we had, yeah, let me just go back. I want to wrap my head around the system for a minute. Okay, so if I get back to Imbolc, we had the Sabbat, an animal, so we have White Swan here. Something mythological, so that's unicorn in this case. We have imagination, joy, and purity. Love that. And then we have Willow Woman. So this is a tree energy. Okay, so we've got that sort of natural world element. Flora and fauna, I guess you could say. So then we have, okay, so spring equinox. So this is going to be a quarter. So we have fire for the element, animal, mythological with the phoenix, a tool with the healing wand. And then we have hazel. So we have another plant sort of flora energy. So then we're at another cross quarter and we have Beltane. So that's the Sabbat. We have Rhiannon, that's going to be our mythical. Oh, and then we have fairy. Okay, so it's not it's not as strict to the structure as I'm imagining, but we do have Rhiannon, who's our deity, and then we have the earth fairy. And then we have another plant energy in dandelion. So then we're into a quarter again. So we have summer solstice. We should have an element, yes, water. Lady of the lake as our sort of mythical or deity. We have chalice well, so we have a location. Mermaid, so a little bit of mythical. And then, oh, and we didn't get a plant. We didn't get a plant for summer solstice. Well, not everything is going to not everybody has spreadsheet brain like I have spreadsheet brain, but it is fun that we have some cards for every Sabbath. So here we have Lammas, Ellen of the Ways. Okay, we're just going through all the cards now because this is the mood I'm in. Okay, so sunflower fairy, and then we have another plant, chamomile and lemon balm. Then we're into the west autumnal equinox. So this is going to be Mabon, earth element, lady of apples, fox, mugwort, and mushroom sprite. How cute. Again, they all have like sub keywords, which I just love. I love this like elemental energy. Then we have northwest. We have Samhain, ancestors, spirit, and grief. Yes. We have Caradwen, perfect. Bat, sickle, yew woman. We have the raven, Morgan Le Fay, and center. Ooh, interesting. So the 45th card, center, self, inner quest. Are these last few shifting color? Yeah, so we get to 42 for the Sabbath cards, then we get some extras. So we have Morgan Le Fay, Raven, and center, and these don't seem to be associated. The border color has changed, right? I'm not imagining that. These are purpley, and this has just got a little more blue in it. So when you're looking at it, color-wise, yeah, those are definitely stand apart. So you have different sections. So what's cool is you get an entire seasonal energy throughout the whole deck. It's a cute little round oracle. This might be really fun. I haven't decided yet with my Tarot of Her to pull in these different energies. I'm not sure, but this is really cool. And having a deck that has the whole Wheel of the Year in a single deck. In the entries, we have a write-up and a statement, like an affirmation, which is cool. Is there any like spreads? Yeah, we have like a 2-card reading, an enchanted 5-card reading. List of the cards. So you could use these as like altar cards too for the season if you wanted to just pull out a few cards to represent the energy. Super fun. I think I'm going to keep us pretty zoomed in because our next deck is the same size exactly. And it is the, well, not exactly because there's a different number of cards, but this is the Folia Oracle. So Danny and I talked about this one in our hot takes. There are 50 cards in this, and I am real excited for this. Look at the spot gloss accents on the box. I am so excited it's this size because I was really worried it was going to be unwieldy, but this is such a great size. So as you can see, just like with the Wheel of the Year, the Enchanted Wheel Oracle rather, just like that, this just like fits in one hand. There's no crazy stretching. It's a real comfortable hold. Look at these beautiful backings. Edges are black. Yeah. I love this. Again, we have beautiful artwork really honed in. We have a main theme and then we have a phrase. So creativity, use your imagination, test, look for a divine test, reciprocity, gossip, leisure, intuition. I love these. Information, pay attention to details. Belief. I'm going to see how this shuffles. Loyal friend, energy. I love that it's a cup of coffee with the phrase rush of excitement. I love this. This has this like vibe, this deck. What's really interesting about this one to me, it has this feeling of being almost like a charm oracle. I don't know why. Just maybe the more simple imagery. Oh, look at the ladybug. Mindset. Find a different perspective. Eggplant. Oh, no, sorry. Why did I say eggplant? Oh, my God. You guys, I'm sleepy. Epiphany. I'm recording this quite late in the evening, and it's showing, I think. Cycles repeat until the lesson is learned. Oh, that's so powerful. Sweetness. Set clear boundaries. Love that. Self-care. Heal, repair, reconnect. Cut off. Let go of what no longer serves you. These are so good. Adventure, be open to new experiences. It's like a diver's helmet. Oh my gosh, this is great. Fear is not a good advisor. Paired with change. Yes. Alignment, you can do hard things. Zoom in, the answer is there if you look closer. Slow and steady, the snail. Yes. Plot twist. I love this so much. Treasure in the distance. And I feel like this will pair with a lot of things. Protection. Cleanse. Love, 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 love the red flag. Warning, pay attention to red flags. Obstacle. This feels very like useful from a divination standpoint. It reminds me of decks like that are about reading tea leaves or charms. It feels very like open, but also it has just a touch of that like fortune tellery vibe, but in a really, really cool, expansive kind of way. Nurture, water your garden. Lock, something is hidden or locked. Detour. Success, travel, companion, oh look, a discerning friend. Healthy choices, choose wisely. Sneaky person, a person with a questionable moral compass. I feel like this would be really fun to read in a tableau style. It does have a little bit of that Lenormand vibe too. Like again, charms, Lenormand, like snappy, like direct readings, reflection, temptation with the pomegranate. Love that. Soulmate with the doggy. Oh my gosh. Gift. Celebration, home, and eccentric person, a person with a different worldview. Okay, I freaking love this. This is such a great size for a round deck because it's easily managed in your hands. Like, hello? Did you see that? Like, there's some flex to this cardstock. So shuffling, it's not hard at all. Look at this. It's amazing. Okay, that's really exciting. I am loving how easy this is to work with. Look at that. Yes. Really excited about this, like really, really excited about this. And this is actually US Games had reached out specifically to say, hey, you know, they offered to send this to me. And I was like, yes, that's so exciting. Yes, please. So you have these like more expanded readings. Okay, this seems like such a useful deck. The kind of thing that you can just like pull out to answer any question. Very universal, very well-rounded, very balanced. I'm excited to play with this for sure. Okay. We're getting down there. I've only got a few more things. Okay, something else that I purchased, the Wicked Moon Tarot. I was just too curious about this one. Let me zoom back out again. So this is by Luna Storta, Georgia Ferrano. I believe, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember now. Does this one tell a story? Am I making that up? What does it say? I believe it does. Is it like her going through... This has got like a really cool kind of tricked out like Alice kind of vibe. But I believe. But let's see. As you immerse yourself in the journey of the young witch Lunaria, pay attention to rich symbolism that characterizes the illustrations that accompany her through the realm of the Wheel of the Year. You'll find similar figures and themes in different contexts, creating the feeling of a real journey to rediscover your power. Ultimately, it will be up to you to trace the common thread that will allow you to interpret and contextualize the profound messages these beautiful cards will bring into your life. Okay. So there's some little messages, there's interpretations. This is a Lo Scarabeo deck, but something about this just caught my attention when people were talking about it. This is what the backs look like. I don't think I need the title card. This has got like a very trippy fantasy world kind of vibe. It reminds me when, oh my gosh, like look at this emperor. He's got like cave drawings on him. He's like a part of the cave. I love it so much. There's something very like fantastical, and it almost feels like an adult. It feels like a cartoon, but in a, how do I say this right? It reminds me of cartoons that have more meaning. They're like not just for like a little kid, but like have more meaning. It reminds me of that. A little bit trippy. Again, it's got a little bit of that kind of Alice otherworldly sort of vibe to it, but we see, I don't know why. I just really am drawn to this. Oh, right. I want to see what the situation is in the Nine of Cups. Oh, interesting. There's some bonding happening here for sure. I love the flowers in his beard. This is a fun one. Again, I say again, I don't think I've mentioned it all this video, but if there's any decks that I've shown here today that you really want to see like a full walkthrough of, let me know in the comments down below. Some of these really go into some unique places, and it'd be fun to sort of play around with what my first impressions of them are. But that is the Wicked Moon Tarot. I just purchased that because I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I'm like, I need to see what this is all about. So yeah, I will play with this and I will report back. Okay, couple more decks and then we're on to just a few books and then we will be wrapping it up. So this was a Kickstarter I backed. As you all know, I love the Wisdom of the Shadow and the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, and I especially love using them together. And these little pocket editions came out when they launched the Wisdom of Wholeness Shadow Work Journal, which I'm actually really excited about. This is actually a guided shadow work journal. I gotta pull out all these like little papers and things. I love this little thing that they included that says, "May the seeds of your intentions blossom." It's really cute. Oh, and there's another one here, and this one says, "May you trust the wisdom of your intuition." This is a really beautiful, we'll talk about the little decks in a second. This is a really beautiful guided journal where you're working with the themes covered in the Wisdom of the Shadow. So here we have shame, and it talks about it, but then it also gives space for you to write about that topic. There's also a ritual. So there's quite a substantial amount of work you can do in here. Grief is a portal. Here we have rage. My rage is an expression of deeper pain. My outcry is a call for deeper listening. So I feel like this is definitely a deck you could spend time with and really do some work with that would be really meaningful. Here we have, I think these are less on, some of this is like bonus content. There's some built-in bookmarks in here. This really intrigued me because I haven't yet seen something come out where I saw a real guided journal into shadow work specifically. And people are often asking, like, how do I do shadow work? Well, something like this is going to sort of hold your hand through the process. Love these little rituals. Love these little rituals. Look at this. Close your eyes and receive 3 deep, nourishing breaths, or center yourself in any way that feels good. Read over the words below and notice what you notice. And then it tells you, like, which of these energies feels good to look at. What can you celebrate about your relationship with one of these energies? And so there's, like, just some really interesting pause and free write. What are you most blank about? So really inviting you to just look in and work with some of this stuff. It's very, very exciting. The little mini decks, I think are going to be really practical. In fact, as I was doing my deck collection, I think I'm going to possibly pull these out and just have these as part of my regular ongoing practice and put the bigger sizes away for now, because these are just so practical and you still have all the lovely information in the guidebook. But then I also have the shadow work. I tend to use these as a pair. So the fact that I can put these together and work with them together just really scratches an itch for me. And I'm really excited to play with them that way. But I'm really most excited for this shadow work journal. I think it's going to be really fabulous to work with. And speaking of journals, I also picked up a 5-year journal, which I'm hoping to start in January. If you've never seen one of these, this is the Sterling Ink one. But if you've never seen one of these, they are basically designed so that, and this is an undated one, so you can start it in any year. I'm going to start mine in 2026. But you just write maybe just a single sentence for every single day. And then when you're working through the next year, you start on the next box. And so every time you leave an entry, you get to see what you did the year before, except for the first year, of course. And so you just build on it. So you have 5 years of memories, just basic memory keeping. It does not have to be exciting. It doesn't have to be anything particularly out of this world, but just a quick little what happened today or what is important to you to write down today. And I thought it'd be really great to start something like this for me in January. So I got this because I like Sterling Ink planners. And this is a nice hardbound. It's got like a cloth cover. And when they said they were launching these, I was like, yes. So I grabbed this for my journaling practice. Okay, I need to clear some space. I also found out, thanks to a very kind commenter, that the Quiet Rebel Tarot, which I backed on Kickstarter, I was lamenting that there was no physical guidebook. And somebody pointed out you could get the physical guidebook on Amazon from the creator. And sure enough, you sure can. So I bought this off of Amazon by Lynn Thurman. It is the full guidebook for the Quiet Rebel Tarot. I wanted this for my shelf. I wanted this to work with the deck because I really like how Lynn approaches her cards. And I am obsessed with the Quiet Rebel Tarot and Oracle, and I had to have this. So I picked this up. Very, very glad I did. I will link it down below so you don't have to go hunting for it. And then I bought 2 books. These are specifically related to the December and January study with my unicorn fam, but they have been on my wish list for a little while. I picked up Entangled Life, How Fungi Make Our Worlds, Change Our Minds, and Shape Our Futures. Now, I picked this up because our study deck in the Unicorn Fam membership for December and January is the Midnight Magic Mushroom Tarot. I mean, it's just called Midnight Magic Tarot, but the Midnight Magic Tarot by Sarah Richard. I love this deck. I purchased this on a whim. I'm so pleased with it. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and we're studying it again through December and January. And I wanted to do some side studying of mushrooms on my own because I've just been fascinated by the little factoids from this deck. And so I had heard really good things about this book, Entangled Life. And so I wanted to pick this up. This is by Merlin Sheldrake. And there is a illustrated like coffee table version of this book, but I just wanted, wow, that's a lot of resources in the back. Holy cow. Where does the actual book? Wow, there's like the bibliography. Hold on, sorry. I got real distracted, but the book itself I think ends on like page, this compost is the epilogue. That's pretty funny. Then we have acknowledgments. Okay, so really the book ends on page 225, and then you have acknowledgments, notes, tons of notes, like footnotes, and like a lot of notes. Holy cow. And then you have a bibliography that is like massive, which is, I don't think I've ever seen such a extensive bibliography before in my life. That's incredible. You can obviously, this is clearly a very well-researched book. And then you also have an index. So if you wanted to look up a specific thing about mushrooms, you can. But I'm just excited to like read this. I also told Peggy I was going to ask her to watch a mushroom documentary with me because there's one called Fantastic Fungi. So I'm probably going to watch that. So I picked that up. But I also picked up this book, and I've seen both of these on the shelf at bookstores and like almost bought them multiple times. But this one is called The Little Book of Mushrooms, an illustrated guide to the extraordinary power of mushrooms by Alex Dorr, but illustrated by Sarah Richard, who is the same one who created the Midnight Magic Tarot. So it features more of her gorgeous mushroom artwork and entries on a bunch of different mushrooms. Blue pink gill. I don't know that there's overlap. In fact, I don't think there is overlap, or at least not much, between the mushrooms covered in this book and the mushrooms covered in the deck. And the writing in this case is actually by Alex Dorr. So I don't know if the writing's going to feel a lot different. I would assume it would, because Sarah Richard did this, as far as I know, illustrations and wrote the guidebook. So, but this just looks like fun to read through. I have just been really, I think this mushroom might be in the deck. I'm not sure. But just more mushroom lore. Like, how fun. So, I just went down a little mushroom rabbit hole. So I picked those up. The last thing I have to share with you is a brand new tarot magazine I'm very excited about called, oh, look how reflective it is. This is called The Discombobulator, the esoteric magazine of the unseen and unexpected. And this is issue number 0. So this magazine just launched, and this was created by Andrea, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but Andrea Aste, who created the Lost Code of Tarot, the Book of Shadows Tarot, and it's just very, very cool. I also have the Ghastly Lenormand that he created. It's just really, really cool. It's the most uniquely designed. This is the table of contents of the magazine. It's literally designed like a map. Now, as far as I know, Andrea has a design, like obviously some design background. So you see a lot of that coming into this magazine, but it's very creatively laid out. It's really like on nice quality paper. And so there's some wonderful tarot and related articles. Again, this is meant to be an esoteric magazine, so not just tarot, but there's a lot of tarot in here. So very, very cool. There's an article in here by Sasha Graham. There's one obviously about Andrea Aste. But here's the cool part. Here's a really cool article on the Kamena Tarot. In any case, at the time you're seeing this, I'm not sure when this video is coming out, if it's coming out before or after, but he's going to actually be on the channel. We're going to be having a cozy creator chat. So we'll be talking about this magazine and more, but it's been really fun flipping through this and checking it out. Like, what would Baba Yaga do? Excuse me. This is by Anastasia Kashian. So there's some really cool things in here. It's like, look at how glossy the cover is. It's so trippy. But what it says on the back, The Discombobulator, a magazine devoted to amusing confusion, delightful bewilderment, and the cheerful art of knocking readers off their usual track. It thrives on playful chaos, the kind that stirs the imagination, tickles the intellect, and leaves you blinking but smiling. A spark born of unexpected twists, wild ideas, and a mischievous sense of wonder. Welcome to the unexpected. Welcome to the Discombobulator. So yeah, I'm really excited about the launch of this. I think it's really exciting when we see new creative projects in the tarot and divination space, and this is such a fun and unique one. I believe you can purchase this magazine digitally or in physical copy, and I will of course link to the Discombobulator website down below so you can check that out. And of course, if we have already had our live stream, I will link that down below. And if we haven't had our live stream, I'll still link down below so you can join us when we are live together. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know this one was a doozy. It was a big month. There was a lot of things for me to cover, and I tangent towned a bit, but I appreciate you so much. Extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you for all of your support of the channel. It makes such a huge difference. To everybody watching, do all the YouTubey things. Thank you. And until next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.